Hi, and welcome once again to What's the Damage? We were just talking about Star Wars, a companion show to the incredibly well-known and popular real play D&D show Roll for Damage. Happy Leap Day! Unfortunately, we're all streaming sober, so this will be a normal show. We didn't. I forgot about weed days, so I couldn't tell everyone to get high for this. So on Friday, the Shields of Twilight got to explore a beautiful city, the beautiful city of Zuma. They didn't quite make it inside the library, but they did take a good look at it. They did also run into a familiar face, as it turned out that Lex was also in the city attending to some business of her own. Baltaim and Sinric had a very hot date. Lex asked the party to look into an associate of hers. Folks went shopping, and no one fought even a single monster. It was really relaxing. Chill times continue in Zuma. As always, stick around after the stream for stuff to think about, organizations to support, great places to send your spare change. I'm your host, Truth Venson, and this is What's the Damage? Welcome back. I've got three wonderful guests today. We have got Laura, who plays the wonderful Peregrine. We've got Jay, who plays everyone's favorite Campion, our resident mad scientist. And we've got Caleel, who plays our wonderful blue warlock. How are you guys doing? So one of you had a very sexy date. You all went shopping, you explored Zuma. What is the damage this time?
Don't
Champion, how was your
take
sexy date?
random potions from tall vampire ladies.
I don't know. That's a lesson that needs to be learned. I think that was like,
You don't
I
think?
think
You
if
don't think
anything,
so?
this is an argument for
yeah,
taking random
forward
potions.
taking, yeah,
Oh
potions from famous
shit!
people.
It's like we wanted romance content. We gave it to you.
That's true.
Okay.
You're
And the
welcome.
audience
You're
asked,
welcome.
we delivered.
Anonymous horny questioner. Here you go.
Just for you.
You see what you make us do. See what
You
make us
asked
do.
for romance. We gave romance.
Yeah. So send in questions because it'll happen apparently. You just need to will it into existence.
Yeah, just will into existence.
It's like The Secret. I've never read The Secret, but I've heard that's what The Secret is like. Anyway,
I have no idea.
I think it's about willing stuff into existence based on memes purely. Where I get all my
Anyway.
information. Cool beans.
Based on memes.
Based on memes, the most reliable way of getting information on the internet.
Mhm.
So we have a topic for the day, which I forgot to mention during the intro. We'll be talking about session 0 later today. But right now we're talking about what happened during the episode. So actually, I wanted to ask Jay about something that we touched on last episode because you were not, unfortunately, not able to be here last week. So how long has Campion been working on like his Batman-like analysis of his fellow
Taking everybody
party
out.
members? Yeah, like
Taking
everyone's
everybody out.
weaknesses. Yeah.
Yo,
Valid
man.
question.
I'd say this is like several weeks of information gathering. I imagine it one night where he's just like on watch with Greybone, and he's just like, like how he's like thinking, and it goes onto a tangent, and he's like, wow, I wonder, what it would take to like beat everybody. Like are their brains just like getting bigger? Like I'm just trying to figure this out. You know.
Oh my God, he's laying awake at night just thinking about this.
And then he just starts
How do I stop
remembering things.
Superman?
It's like, I imagine it was like after fucking Cynric, just destroys Greybone. He's like,
Mhm.
I need a way to take care of Cynric when the time comes. He's
I
a
mean,
menace to
honest,
society.
oh, we should have known. We should have known. Honestly, with all the times that like various entities are making you guys fight each other, because this isn't the first time it's happened, maybe not a bad idea to have plans for taking each of you down.
True. That's true.
Love it. So I asked this to the group last week, but I'm kind of interested in this group's responses as well. What do your characters think their greatest strengths and weaknesses are?
Ooh.
Mm.
I mean, like, I feel like in Campion, his base strength is, snipe.
Intellectually.
It's snipe. Well, yeah, it's intellectual. His mind, his brain. You know, especially with certain of his fucking like feat. His abilities and feats and everything, and
Mhm.
just like some class features, and then just like yeah, his I guess his physical strength is just fucking terrible. But fuck it. Who needs to lift rocks, bro? You got big
Maybe
His
that's the
brains.
case,
weakness is
Sam.
literally that he's weak. Um,
Man. I think Baltaim thinks his strength is he is very I don't know how to say this, but I guess like pliable. He's able to like I don't feel like there's been like yeah, he's
Adaptable?
not
Yeah.
he's not yeah, adaptable. He's very like he's not I don't think there's been like many issues with him like I mean there he does things that are crazy and like that's we understand like that's probably not a good thing. But he's like wanting to be understanding of Perry's ideals and Oriana's ideals and Cynric and Campion and Quinn's and try to like understand their perspective of something
yeah.
um and try to see their point of view before he just like says no or like disagrees or and if they have a good idea like kind of go along with it
Yeah.
but I think that's also could be a weakness of his that he doesn't really stand pat to something if he is like persuaded to something else he'll just like go along with it. I think he's not very like um confident, which is weird because he does have some bit of confidence in like his actions that he does himself personally. But I think when
He goes with the
he's not
flow.
confident making a group decision for for like a
Right.
whole group of people.
Yeah, it is really easy to convince Baltine to do stuff.
Yeah.
Just
He's
put
like,
free
yeah, that
sample
sounds
on
cool.
a potion. He'll drink it. It's fine. Um, I mean, I think Perry sees her biggest strength in the fact that she is compassionate, that she cares about other people and she cares about her friends and her family and the people at large. Like she gives a shit, and I think that's what
Mhm.
she thinks is one of her biggest strengths. Her like lack of confidence, which has changed a lot over the course of the last few sessions. But her willingness to not start a fight even when she really should stand her ground is a
Mhm.
big weakness that she's started to see in herself, and she is working to overcome it because she's a very quiet, like laid back character, but she's getting to a point where you can only walk over someone for so long before they get real tired of being a doormat. And Perry's learned, I'm not a doormat. I'm a hell of a lot stronger than you think I am, and I'm a hell of a lot smarter than you think I am.
Yeah, I think we saw a bit of Perry asserting herself more. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Thank you guys for those insights. Now I also know how to destroy you. Yes. No, I'm the big bad at the end. It's always been me.
Yeah. See, you all think that all these things we joke about, but no, it's truth. Truth is the BBEG.
Yeah.
Just guess what? I've made the
layout. Not going to
layout.
show up until the last episode.
Yeah.
It's obviously truth.
Obviously. You're like, welcome to your doom.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so something else before we move on to the actual events of the episode, which I've been curious about, is this dynamic that's sort of coming up between Perry and Campion, where Perry's sort of like trying to assist a Campion a bit with his terrible health problems. And I was wondering, kind of from Campion's perspective, like, is this making him feel closer with Perry? Does he think it's invasive? Like, what's everybody's perspective on this?
I'm fucking done. Okay. I mean, in Campion's eyes, it's like now he's got friends, and like this is just like something like, oh, friends help friends. But he hates tea, so it's like torture.
I mean, it's not just about the tea, although Perry's just confused.
Okay,
and
Campion does not like the teas.
Okay, so by the way, you weren't on last time, and I was going to send Truth this question, so I'll just ask you now: what does Campion have against leaf juice?
Okay, leaf juice. It's so gross and bitter. Okay, he doesn't like the teas, man. Maybe
you like lick things though, like you lick random
walls. Exactly. Yeah, dude.
You don't get to talk shit about
you like
tea.
lick ooze, like residue.
I didn't like. Okay. I don't think he licked ooze residue. I think
I was saying like you like lick like dirty cave floors and stuff like.
Tea is bitter, but I licked Aaron's mansion floor.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. He was just. Yo, it was science, really. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, no. Hey man, that's just.
When did he have gritty tea? That's what I want to know. When did he have gritty tea?
Bro. I don't know, man. Okay, it's just like Campion doesn't fuck with the tea, but he will lick stones. The mind of a madman, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, remember Perry dips rocks in tea, gives Campion to lick. Yeah. He gets his medicinal tea.
Spinning the mind, man.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I feel like the logical thing to do is just for Campion to invent like the pill.
The pill, dude.
Yeah, just invent pills.
Exactly.
Also, I am drinking tea.
Traitor!
Oh, sorry. Wonderful. Okay. Delicious. Oh my god. Just so Serenity, who is our eternal peanut gallery, just said delicious at the exact same time, in the exact same tone as I did. It's great. That's what happens when you have friends for too long. You gotta get rid of them. Anyways, so let's talk about Claire real quick.
Yeah.
How did the cat statue tradition start in your family exactly?
So when I made Baltimore the character, I had did a lot of research on like luck and probability and like certain histories of like other cultures with like luck and like signs of good luck and bad luck, as the character is very based off of like the duality of like those two things. So when I made the character, I thought of and I had the idea of like the I believe it's Japanese culture, the neck
Yeah,
of
you got the
cats.
little.
Yeah. And so his family, his adopted family, his father's like a trinket settler. So I thought, well, what is something like that I would have that like he would like go like Baltimore would leave with of that to remind him of that part of his life. So I just had I knew that there's like a normal like white Neko cat that's also for good luck, but there's a gold one for like prosperity of like money and stuff like that. There's an orange one for like fertility, and that's the one his father or his adopted father has. And then his sister has a gold one, and then there's the black cat, which is supposed to be a ward for evil spirits and bad omens, so to kind of help replace bad luck, try to ward off bad luck. And that was the one that Baltine had. And it was just kind of like the dichotomy of like what I represented each of those cats to those characters and those like places that they should be.
Cool. Yeah, I was pointing out during the episode, Black Cat was actually quite appropriate for Baltame, considering how many evil spirits and bad omens he's surrounded
Yeah.
by. So maybe not working as well as it could, but
Maybe
you
not.
know, give it some time. Maybe it would have been worse without the cat. Who
I like to
knows?
think it's working. Me and Chad are the only ones that haven't died yet, so maybe it's working. You
There
know,
you
and we're not
go.
even realizing it. See?
There you go. Oh yeah, Chad's like Cindric's no, it's not Cindric. Quinn. I had to go through like 4 different names.
Yeah.
Quinn also has a little cat somewhere. It's gonna get revealed later. Anyway,
Secret
So-
cat.
Secret kitty. Secret kitty. So the date. Did Baltayu have fun?
Oh, he did. He did have fun. It was a fun time. Like I like the weirdest thing. Like it wouldn't have like if this was like just proposed in general. Like he would have probably went with Cindric alone anyway. You know what I mean? Like it just like he like from my point of view, it's like the potion made him feel more like emotion, like romantically attached to him. But I think
hey, yo, those muscles
and-
looking really nice.
yeah, like you look good, like you know. I'm like, but I think like I mean, Baltimore doesn't have a problem with most of anyone in the group. So like if someone's like if like Campion was like, hey, let's go do something today, like let's go dancing or something, like Baltimore like, yeah, let's do it. Like he's like he had enjoyable time doing like with Cindric, and I think I don't know. I think it's probably bonded them in a different way. And even though like right now, since the potion's not like affecting him, he doesn't probably feel the same way, but he still has like appreciated the time that he spent, like got a little bit more closer to Cindric in general though.
You know,
That's nice.
yeah, it's 2 points. You know, like they gotta come together. You know, after Dobby's gone. You know, Cindric was like, Dobby's like main best friend, and then like, Baltame was like the one that he'd get into shits and giggles with. Now it's like they're coming together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the missing piece. Now they're like fitting together, man. You know, exactly.
Oh, they can move on together from Dobby.
And I think it was good. I think it was good too because Caleel felt that the characters that Baltimore hasn't like, and it's not on purpose, but I just think it's kind of hard to approach Oriana and Cindric as they're more reserved characters in general. So I felt like it was kind of hard for me, and like it's been a little bit of time. It's kind of been hard to like try to like reach out and how to connect with this type of character, like what type of angle to go at it to connect with these characters. I think I liked it because it was more like one-on-one time with me and Cindric to get something going with Cindric and me, because I felt like out of the group, him and Oriana have been like the ones that's been the hardest to like kind of connect to.
Yeah. And honestly, like nothing will make you friends quicker with somebody than an extremely awkward situation you're dealing with together. So best friends. Awesome. So let's talk about some of the things that you guys did in Zuma. So you did go to the library, you didn't quite make it inside. As the only thing you had they were really interested in was something that Quinn was reluctant to give up. I had a question for Perry, actually, something I was curious about. So is it okay actually for her to be giving away ocean songs? Because I thought there's like a statute of secrecy thing going
Well,
on.
okay, so for her and for her people, it's not like this. The secrets that Jilra have are the secrets of like guarding the temple.
Hmm.
Like for Perry, what she was giving was a traveling song that has been sung out away from home. Like it's something that she learned from other people who have left the village. And like that's the song that they, it's one of those songs that was sung for people who were going out. So she would never give away anything that was a closely guarded, this is something that we keep sacred and safe. But this was something because part of her people should not be isolated. They have no reason to, as far as she knows.
Hmm.
They're in this chosen self-isolation, not because they're guarding something that's dangerous, not because they're guarding something that's sacred, but because they decided that they agreed that all magic that is not divine or nature-based and druidic was dangerous. And so for her, that self-imposed isolation is not the same thing as, oh no, we're here to watch the most sacred temple of Melora.
Mm.
And what keeps them safe, she would never give away a song from the Jilra. But for her, this is, okay, well, this is a song that has been sung for generations for the people who go out and travel the world or who were supposed to travel the world. So for her, that's like a traveling bard, type thing. Otherwise, she won't tell anybody any of the old stories.
Mm.
It was a big deal for her to explain the sacred marks that she wears as a part of her tribe to Baltaim. But she only felt secure doing that because we had been accepted and we were now technically all one tribe.
Mm.
This was something that he should understand because he is now one of us, if only tangentially, through going through that trial and being accepted. Like, she would not tell somebody off the street, oh, yeah, no, these vines mean this. And this tree on my back, yeah, no, that totally means this. So, like, there are things that are sacred and secret. And then there are things that are, because part of what her goal is to go home and be like, look, y'all gotta leave. We gotta open up. We gotta leave. We gotta do something here. You're dying because you won't. So part of this was her learning, okay, I have to let go of that isolation. I have to let go of being here. This is no longer acceptable.
Gotta live in the bigger world.
Hmm?
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting seeing like the cultural differences between the different Oceanian tribes too, which we'll get to see more of in the future.
I'm super
Yay.
excited, and also I know none of it, so it's great.
We'll find out together. Awesome. So maybe on a little bit, you guys met up with Lex. It's been such a long time. What was it like seeing her after all these weeks, months? I don't know how long it's been.
I think it's been probably like a few.
Oh, so it's actually not been that long, but it feels
yeah, it's
like
not been too
forever.
long, like end game time. But I think like out of game time has been quite a bit of time. Yeah,
But I think it's been like 3 weeks or so at least.
maybe two and a half,
since
3.
we saw
Yeah,
since Cage Barrow,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mixed feelings.
Mixed.
I will say that. Mixed feelings.
Which ones?
I mean, my character doesn't take a lot of stock in what other characters think about her. So, like, okay, Lex can talk all the shit she wants. She's right about some things and she's wrong about some things. And I'm not going to base my self-worth on what someone who barely knows me thinks.
Mm.
So, like, for her, this was, oh, I see people and I have some information for them. Let's go, like, I don't need them for anything. This is the first time we've seen them and not needed a favor or not needed some help. And for Perry, that was kind of exciting because she was like, oh, no, I'm going to run up and I'm going to like, look, we found this, this, and this. Have y'all heard anything? Could this be connected?
Mhm.
to let them know. But
So
also
she
there is that
was,
nervousness.
yeah. So she was kind of excited to connect with Lex and Fulton as colleagues.
A little bit, like to not be on like, it's not that she sees it as like equal ground,
Mhm.
but common ground.
Interesting.
Right, not asking for like something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were begging for a favor again.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel a part similarly to Laura on that. I think Baltim's not like he values people's point of view so he can make his own decision on things, but he's not like he's not going to like Lex insulting like him or anything. It doesn't really like it. Like he'll like, oh, like she insults me, but like past that, was she right or was she wrong about what she said about me or like
Yeah.
said about like what we need to do? Yes, no. And if it's like the insult is like that's just how he like understands like that's how she operates. Like he's like I think that's how she operates. So she's like he's not taking it personally. He doesn't take it personally. So he's like um she's right about this. So if she's right about this, let's see what we can do to figure this out. I think it was he's glad because he was very glad that we got rid of the communicator because he doesn't like to receive uh an abundance of help if like that's not required. Like if there's something like they're not capable of handling, he's like sure, he's not like super prideful about like we need to go ask for help, but I think he was understanding like we're getting in the whole asking for favors things and we're getting favors racked up for like things that we could handle ourselves or potentially like if we can't handle it ourselves, we might have to like, learn from it, grow and move on. Like it's something like you're not going to have like your hand held a lot of times. So I think that he was good with moving on from that and is like trying to not redefine, but like re-understand the relationship because now we're like trying to become more independent.
Sorry. I think I'll say Aim also made a good point. Oh, sorry. I'm out of tea too. Okay, I think Baltaim made a good point at some point during the episode where he said something to the effect of the party's worth not necessarily being measured by Lex's opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she like yes, he understands like they have done great things and they're way stronger than us. Yes, and he values their information, their strengths, and things that we aren't capable of doing and don't understand quite yet. But to be defined by someone without them, we don't know much about them. They don't really know much about us. They've seen what we can do and like how we've done it, and they can comment on like you didn't really do great on this. But that's part of growing. He's like we need to get our like lumps so we can get to a place where we are either capable up to their par or even just like on the same common ground. So he's like we can't let someone else define us. We have to define us because that's who we have to figure out as how we measure up to ourselves, not as someone else seeing us having them measure us.
Campion doesn't know Lex that well.
Who has no idea, man.
No, he's just like, oh, it's that lady.
He's like,
That lady who was mean to me, but also has those guns.
has guns.
Oh, the guns are cool. Awesome. Yeah, so Perry kind of yelled at Oriana a bit this episode. It seemed like a pretty intense fight, actually. And this had been after you'd been snappish with each other earlier over the creepy kids.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that.
Yeah. I think things with Perry and Oriana have sort of come to a head.
Oh yeah.
Like I've said before, like Perry's a really quiet and laid back character, and she's been like sort of, okay, I'll go with the flow. I'm not in charge. I don't know enough to be the boss here. But like at some point, somebody had to step up a little bit. And there's been several times where we've been kind of directionless and Perry's wanted to be like, look, I know what we should be doing. We should be working together. We should be trusting each other, and we're not doing that. And like anytime, and for her, it feels like a lot of times, anytime she's trying to step up a little bit, Oriana needs to undercut her. Like Oriana always feels like she's got to disagree. And for Perry, like it's starting to feel like, no, you can't sit here and talk down to me. Just because you're, hoity-toity noble and I'm just a country bumpkin does not mean that I don't have just as much experience. I'm in this shit too. And like, it's just sort of been building and building and building, because there's this level of feeling like Oriana doesn't trust her. And not in the way that Oriana is like, no, I trust you. I know you're not going to trick me. Yeah, but you don't trust me to have your back in a fight. You don't trust me to trust my gut to say something creepy is here. Maybe let's pay attention. Or I see our friends. I'm literally the person who sees everything, and I see our friends. I'm not paranoid. And to be once again like cut down, Perry's tired. She's just tired of being stepped on and overlooked and treated like she's stupid. And she also kind of sees a lot of Oriana's behavior as selfish and detrimental to the group, especially like the last two fights where Cynric's not on our side. And instead of trusting the rest of the group, she's sitting here watching Oriana do things like, oh no, we have to heal Cynric. We can't win if we don't. Like, we knocked him down on purpose.
You're welcome.
Quinn made sure he was stable so we could keep fighting. So we wouldn't have to worry about our friend killing us or us having to hurt him really and truly.
And he did kill Oriana.
And then, and that's kind of Perry's point, is that first fight, Oriana didn't learn from that first fight that we should have left him alone. We were winning. We were doing okay. If we just left him alone, we wouldn't have had to, at the end of the fight, be tying our friend up and praying he calmed down. And then a second time around, she knew something was holding Cynric still, because she knew he wasn't fighting them anymore. Because Perry's the one who sees the whole battlefield. She's observant. And so she was like, okay, well, Cynric's held. I'm going to focus on everything else. And the next thing she knows, Cynric's loose and killing Oriana. And then to find out Oriana dropped that spell. Like, she didn't know that was precisely what happened. And then Oriana says, yeah, no, I trusted him and I dropped it. But you didn't trust us to have your back? You didn't trust us to have the fight?
It's interesting where and how Oriana expresses trust.
And for Perry, that's insulting. Like, we've been in this together. We've trusted each other enough to continue to fight literally a god of darkness. But even on these little side missions, you can't trust us enough not to swing a battle all the way to the other side and get killed. And like, for Perry, that feels really shitty and insulting. And then to have her go, well, I trust you not to trick me. That's not the point. And for Perry, that's the problem. Like, she literally lied to us all, and Perry is not going to forget that. Like, she's lived that. I've been lied for so long. I've been lied to for so long by my own people. You're my friend. You owe me the truth, at least, to make my own decisions. I've trusted you this far. And that really bothers Perry a lot. And she's decided, you're not going to keep doing this to me. It's not fair. I'm smarter than that. I'm better than that. And we've sacrificed a hell of a lot for you to still be alive. What you're doing is wrong.
Interesting.
I think it's interesting. Laura just said something interesting. Because I think we're getting to that point where I don't know if the word we necessarily need like a leader, right, of like a group, but like there is definitely needs to be someone to steer the ship, and there's multiple candidates that could do it. Perry's like will be there. Like everyone needs like as a step away from needing to like fix something of their inner character to be able to take that mantle. Like Perry is capable of doing it. She just like has an emotional like connection to everything, so she might make an emotional decision sometimes that could be bad.
That's true.
Quinn is capable of doing it. He's just really hot-headed. Baltim's capable of doing it. He's just very like irrational, so he'll do something like sporadic. Cimric is capable of doing it. He just doesn't. He has a reluctance to do it. So there's like people that are capable of doing it. It's just that it's interesting to see if there going to be a point where we come to the point like you're not in charge necessarily, but like you need to right the ship. Like we're still all like a group, but like a person, you need to, when we're in the rough of it, you say something, we follow, because we're sort of getting to a point where it's like you can't have too many alphas make a sporadic, hectic like chain of command. You
Not
can't
enough alphas.
Too many chefs in the kitchen, you know.
Not enough
but I'm saying like the lack of alpha too is also very bad. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's a really good point. I mean, I feel like it's not that we need a ship's captain, but we need somebody on the rudder. And we never seem to have somebody in the rudder when we need it. And like Perry has noticed that, and that's why she stepped up. And so like she's like, well, nobody else is going to do it. And the minute I do, I'm going to be shit on.
Right. I think whoever we need to, I'm just interested to see who's going to be the person that's like steps up and the whole group understands like, yeah, that's the person who's going to steal.
Yeah.
Because someone can step up and it's not working out. And so we have to figure out who is the person that steps up, says the chain of command, and it's followed. And it's like, okay, that's who we're going to look to steer the ship.
Yeah.
You can all take turns. I do wonder though if this conflict with Oriana is gonna push Perry to like take charge in a more concrete manner. Because like Oriana kind of wants it, but wants it.
Yeah.
But doesn't.
Oriana could, but she has a very indecisive like decision. So that's also like there's problems with each of our characters like intangibly that like you could be it, but there's a character defect that you need to either shore up or like remove to like right that ship.
Yeah.
Because any one of them can like damn the whole group.
What I dearly want is for Perry to take charge and Oriana to be second in command. I think she could be your Starscream. She could be your Starscream.
I mean, that's the thing. If they could ever, I mean, they started off really close. And like that's the other thing. It's like Perry was off away from the only people she's ever known. Quite literally. And she got really close to Oriana. She means it when she said, you're my best friend. But it's starting to feel like we're not even colleagues anymore. And that hurts Perry's heart. I mean, she's really heartbroken by the fact that their friendship doesn't seem to be standing up to just, we're not going to go to the library right now. We're still going, but not right this second. And like for her, that's like, how do I handle the fact that someone I thought was my best friend does not care or does not seem to care? And that for Perry is what it is now. Does Oriana not give a shit about me at all? Like, does she really just see me as a stepping stone to whatever she wants? Because if so, to hell with that. I'm not going to be treated that way anymore. Perry feels like she's earned the right to be treated as an equal. And to get as much as she's given because she cares so much about these people in this party. Like, she basically found Cammy and was like, oh, you're sick and I could help you. I'm going to adopt you.
Puppy.
Like, I mean, for her, well, she's grown, she's been around sick people for ages now. And like, she got a brother who's a healer. And so like, she sees somebody who's sick, she could help. She did pick up some skills. She's like, I can help you and you need help and you're my friend. And I care about you. And she cares about everybody so much. And like part of why this has been brewing for so long is because she's also afraid of like what her emotions will do now, especially now that she knows that there is something inside her that she needs to learn to channel. And so she's like, I don't want to let loose. If I have a screaming match with my friend in the middle of the street, what if I set a building on fire? Quite literally, it is a thing she worries about. Like, what if I suck the air out of the room while there are kids here? So like this has been building and building and building, and then it just kind of exploded. And it's not really over. We just got to a location where we were going to part ways for a minute and breathe.
Yep. Well, it's all very interesting to watch from the outside. Tune in next week, we'll get Oriana's perspective on it. And now we do need to move on. So today's topic is Session Zero, or the concept of Session Zero. Now, Session Zero is sort of like a prologue to the game almost. It can be used to establish things like world building and character dynamics and like house rules, and or just to like familiarize players with the world in general. So first question, did you guys do Session Zeros for this campaign?
Yes.
Mhm. Yep.
Awesome. So were they like individual, or was it like a group?
It was sectioned. I think there was two of
Mhm.
us each. Session
Except for me.
0. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of us had 101. Some of us
Mhm.
were grouped together.
Depending on
Awesome.
where we started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at, like
Gotcha.
beginning of the campaign, I think the people who were together, that's what the Session Zeros were. That's how people who were alone with their Session Zeros.
And so
Yeah.
Cindric and Dobby would have had the same Session Zero.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, so without like spoiling things, could you tell us a bit about like what your experience with this campaign Session Zero was? Oh, okay, Serenity
Yeah.
says we can spoil it. I mean, there might be backstory stuff that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
please then cast your mind back to like a year ago and tell us a bit about your Session Zeros.
Yeah, Dobby and Cindric's Session 0 was pretty cut and dry. It was Dobby got the duo into a job, but it became more than they bargained for. They were smuggling some stuff in,
Oh,
and then yeah, these guys tried to rough him up, and Dobby was like, "Yo, fuck that! We're trying to make this money." Was trying to fight them off, and was basically turned into a pincushion. Cindric came to the rescue and started like literally splitting them into meaty chunks. And then yeah, they got beers afterwards. So yeah.
Nice.
so standard Cindric and Dobby fare.
Cindric and
Yeah.
Dobby adventure,
Classic
dude.
Cindric and Dobby adventure.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
My Session Zero, God, it's been like a year. I believe I was looking for more information on my sister, and that led me to I think I asked around and about details about her, and that led me to getting jumped, I believe, and then I had a small combat, and I got help from a mysterious figure. I don't think we have yet to find out or can't get. Well, I think we met him in the bar. I think that was the person we met in the bar later in Dash. But that ended up me going to have to get the money to pay him, and I went to started looking for bounties, and that's what led to the whole Logan fiasco. That's why Baltimore was around for that Logan fiasco thing.
Meanwhile, Perry, literally kind of fresh off the boat, lands in Agraria and just starts bouncing around looking for things and looking for people. Like she's in a bar and she's like listening to people talk. And she goes to, I want to say it was like the Adventurers Guild. Yeah, she went to the Adventurers Guild and ran into Fulton. So she's like desperately asking people questions about the ocean. And they're like, we don't know who that is. And so like she winds up helping Fulton take an artifact in, and it opens up and there's some sort of gray abomination slimes in it. And in true Peregrine fashion, flings a entangle spell in a bad place. It entangles everybody.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it was her and Fulton fighting off some slimes, and then she was like asking him questions because she's like, "Oh, you're an adventurer, you know things," and he's like, "Yeah, no, you should go to Dash and ask for Logan," and there she went.
Aw. And that comes up because you and Fulton are best friends. Just BFFs like this.
Maybe more. Find out next episode.
Find out next session.
Find out next session. We'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be more romance. You did ask.
Maybe.
We do deliver.
We live to serve the audience. Cool beans. So, in your guys' opinion, like, what is the point of a session 0? Like, what should they accomplish?
I think this is a little bit different because we were streaming this, like this campaign. And we had already kind of went over like the normal like session 0 type of things, like like rules and like our classes that we're gonna play, our characters and stuff like that. We've already kind of went over like the basics of the stuff we were gonna do. This was more like getting into session like prequel before like our session 1 all together, kind of like getting what the story is gonna be and like how is this character gonna like play for us, like having to actually play it. I think normally like session 0 and like depends can be kind of like half of that, half of this, where you kind of play a little bit, but it's mostly trying to figure out like this is how we're playing this game. These are some of the home rules. These are some like things we're going to be doing, like and then like really for your character and stuff like that. That's usually what, from my personal experience, of like how session 0s usually go. But I think because this was streamed and we already kind of did a lot of that groundwork beforehand, I think this because this was just more like the second half, like just going in and like filling your character out before you want like change anything, like small things before you kind of get into like the main campaign.
Yeah, this was a lot different than any like session 0 like I normally expect, because like partially because we'd all played together and we'd all like talked it out and we knew like everybody's limits, and we talked about the very important social contract part of session 0. We kind of did as like a group to lay out this is what everybody should expect. And so this was like, okay, well, we need to get you to the location. And instead of just saying, well, you all meet at a tavern and you don't have any information after that, this gave us a stage to step on to. Like, okay, well, these people come from here and these people come from here. But like, I think it varies. Like if you're in a group and you've been playing together for years, your session 0 is probably like, just let's roll up some characters. Let's talk about the world. Let's get started. But like, if you're starting with a new group, this is the time when you're like, okay, here are the limits. Everybody needs to understand like how far things are going to go. What kind of game are we playing? How serious are we? Like the very important, like D&D is a social contract. You are giving a big part of yourself to a game, and everybody needs to respect everybody's limits and everybody's triggers. Like you know before you roll your first dice whether or not things are going to be okay.
Jay?
I was just like, I was trying to see if she had anything else to add, but yeah, no. Yeah, with session 0s, especially like like this session 0, I don't really have anything to add. It's just like, yeah, it wasn't anything like it was more of where we wanted to kind of cultivate our character, not in like I guess like build character, but more of as like as a RP standpoint,
Right.
we were trying to really, I think Serenity was trying to see like gauging what our like aspects and kind of like how we were gonna play our character, and kind of not only that, but like get our stories kind of, because I know she was still working on story aspects, so she was just trying to see if it was like a solid starting point, I guess, for everybody, and seeing like how it was gonna plan out, I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, we've been playing for like a while, so it wasn't like anything where like, oh yeah, oh you're playing this, okay, cool, yeah, I'm playing this guy right here, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You weren't complete babes in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
As it were. Is that still a phrase people use? Like a babe in the woods? possibly.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Bringing it back on what's
Bring
new.
it back, man. Okay. So as DMs, do you guys typically do session zeros?
Um, for me, if it's not like a whole group of new players, like people who've never played before, I don't do
Hmm.
session zero.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if it's like a group that like I had to like pit people together, like yeah, because so then we kind of like know like this is where I'm coming from, like this is how I view things, and like are you okay with this? Like I want to like there's like you can have mature topics, but like it could be too far in some respects. Like you can have like some things that are like you want to still be mature and like it can be kind of dark, but you don't want to be like super vivid and like descriptive of like dark topics because some people might not be comfortable with that because
Mm.
there's some things that are just like too close to home. You want to make sure like, hey, I'm gonna touch on some of these things. I won't go too far. I'm not gonna like be descriptive, but like there might be things because it's like I want it to be like feel like a real world. There might be some things that are like murder and stuff like that. Like killing like small children might like a villain might just be like, oh, I'm blowing up this I want to make sure people are
Setting this
understanding
orphanage
like
on fire.
yeah, like I want you to understand like this is where I'm coming from. I don't want to be like too like go too far if like everyone's not comfortable with that. So like let me know what you're not comfortable with, and I'll let you know what I'm not comfortable with because some things I just won't touch either. And then how we work together, and then kind of make sure everyone's feeling the same vibe. Um, and usually that's what I do for like if it's a new group. But if it's like a group I've played with before, we've already been through that, like running through that. And mostly it's more about like creating a character and stuff like that.
So what differentiates a session zero from just like a chat that you have with your players before the game?
Like what are the overall start differences?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, like a chat, this is like I guess like a conversation. Like if you're gonna be doing like a session zero, it's like kind of like how you like dip a toe into the pool to see like how warm it is. It's like a trial run.
Hmm.
You're driving, you're doing a test drive on a car real quick. Just trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, yeah, you can talk to someone, and like you can have a whole conversation with everybody, and then in that moment, but you don't kind of be able to gauge everyone's you know reactions to certain things unless like you start like playing.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can, and you don't gauge like the type of players that you have in your group, and those type of we went over the type of players we have in the group, so like someone could be like, oh yeah, I'm just a chill dude, like whatever, man. I'm going with the flow. And the moment that they're going on, they're just like, rules lawyering the entire time, or trying to be like that guy where like, I thought you were cool, dude. Like, why can't we do this? Exactly.
Uh, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura, I think you're still working on your first campaign. Do you plan on doing session zero?
I mean, because the people that I'm planning on playing with are people I've played with for like forever. What session zero
Hmm.
will probably be is just like let's sit down and like run like the first mini adventure, and like let's talk about the characters for a few minutes and like know like what we have. But like as far as I know, I'm not playing. We might recruit like somebody else, but like I don't know that we'll have like a true session zero because we all know our own limits,
Hmm.
and like we're all really comfortable with each other. I mean, there are nights where we spend like 3 hours after a session shooting the shit. Um, so we know each other well enough that we don't really need like an official, these are my triggers and this is too far and this is a no go. Um, but like if we wind up like recruiting somebody or something where we're like not sure where they stand, then probably. But as far as I know right now, we will probably just have like an informal, okay, this is what everybody's playing. I've got all your backstories. Let's fucking roll some dice. Uh,
Play with some math rocks.
yeah, let's do the click clock math rocks. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so kind of like going off of some of the things that you guys have mentioned, I've seen session zeros that are like pretty much just a literal game session, which I think is kind of what Serenity tends to do. I've seen session zeros which are like a combination of like meta Q&A, brainstorming, character development, a bit of actual play. What do you think the advantages are to like the different approaches to session zeros? Does it just have to do with how familiar you are with your players already, or?
Um, it depends, cause there's like a table vibe, like when you like go into like, you know, we're character building today before session zero. Like, hey, this is what I want to play. It's almost like, oh, that'd be cool. Me and you can do X, Y, Z, be here and do this. And there's a cool like vibe to that, like
Yeah.
going starting that. But like if you're like, I think like we said, like if you're like already kind of like a group that's been together and played together a while, you kind of already know what everyone's kind of like thinking about anyway. So there's kind of a cool vibe of doing like, I want to like do something like just me and the DM, and like I want to see their reactions to like what I came up with, because it might be like something like, oh, that's Caleel, he's gonna do some crazy stuff, or like, oh, that's Jay, that's gonna be some crazy stuff. But then Jay comes out and is like, he's just a level-headed character, and you're like, no, there's something wrong here. There's something weird going with the character. I don't trust you. The character's like all calm and collected. You're just like, no, no. Like, so it's like
character doesn't do any wacky shit at all.
Yeah, so you're just like kind of surprised by it. So it can be advantages and disadvantages to both. They just really depends on like how like the group you have like works together, like knits together.
Mm-hmm.
But both ways aren't necessarily inherently bad or good. I like either version of the session zero.
Yeah, I think it really depends on your table and like who you're playing with, how well you know them, and how familiar are you with the rules. Because like I've been in session zeros where we're literally just talking about math rocks. Like, here's your d20. This is what you're gonna roll for literally. I mean, like you're breaking it down to the very, very basics.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've been in them and I'm like, no, we sat down, we had character sheets, we started this shit, and we didn't look back.
Jumping in.
I have nothing else to add.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
So it's okay, we're running out of time anyway. So I've seen like the concept of session zero called the best tool for setting up a TTRPG. Do you think this is true, or are session zeros overhyped? Like, should they be standard? Do you need them? Like, can you get along without them? Because I feel like they're occasionally standard, they're occasionally not. It really depends on the DM.
Yeah, I think you need them, like no matter how standard or like basic they are, because it's just kind of it just gets you like in that right mind space of like knowing how this character is going to act before I actually start doing something like that's part of the campaign. It really does help you and like get you to understand, like, because like on paper you can like see an ability and like, oh, that's gonna be cool. I have Eldritch Blast. I could do like beams and stuff. But then you're like, when you like try, you're like, oh, I only like get one of these right now. And like you can like understand like in practice, this doesn't really necessarily work how you think it's gonna work. And like it sounds good, but like like let's say you're a ranger or something, you're like, oh man, I can do like extra damage to undead things. And like when you start fighting and you like understand like this is not really an undead campaign, like hey DM, I want to change that because I think this is not really going to work out right now. I need to like maybe let's do dragons. This is a dragon campaign. Let's try to like switch this to like make it work better. So I think I think it's still needed, even if they can be sometimes depending on the DM can be like kind of standard. It just kind of helps you get that structure correct.
I think you're wrong, Caleel. I think they're overrated. Okay? Nah, man. Yo, fuck the session zero, bro. Okay? Listen to Big Daddy J. Okay? You're wrong. Okay? All you need is fuck session zero. Just go balls to the wall in session one. Okay? Because you're gonna cut out the weak in the chaff. Okay? You gotta throw your players into the fire. Okay? No fear for
Get rid of all the bubble-blown babies.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to play one of your games so bad someday.
Oh, God. Jay's just like, fuck you. Fuck you, you're session zero.
Jay's like, Adapt or die.
Bro.
Sink or swim, baby. Sink
Yeah,
or
because
swim.
once you make that first session, you're like, holy shit, I'm a fucking god. You know, the player's just like, oh shit, we survived, and I'm like, yo, that's the real lesson.
Did you survive?
Did you?
survive? Or did you get in deeper into the fucking bullshit of my reality? You know.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where a session 0 of some form or another is a good way to set the stage. And it just really depends. Like if you need like an in-depth one because everybody's new or maybe everybody's experienced, but everybody comes from a different mindset. Maybe you got some people who are like super into D&D, but they've only ever played campaigns where nobody ever dies and everything is great and rosy. And then you've got somebody else who's like, nah, shit, man, I've been in it. Like there was torture. There was so much torture. And that's like not a thing that some people are comfortable with. And without a session 0, or at least something like that, you're going to run into like halfway through your campaign and maybe you wrote something super dark and edgy and horrifying. And your players are like, I didn't sign up for this.
Too much.
Too many fingernails have been removed. But like there is a level of you need to be prepared for what's coming, not necessarily spoiled, but like aware. Okay, well there might be some murder, there might be some serious character death, and you need to be able to just a little bit of murder, and you need to be prepared. Like you need to understand what you're getting into. It's not fair to bring somebody who maybe has dealt with abuse in their life and like, oh no, you're gonna deal with this abusive motherfucker, and that triggers them, and it's not fair because you didn't tell them that this was a thing they were going to come into, and they've got trauma in their past, and that's why you need it. Whether it's a one-on-one, we talk about our boundaries, which is a lot of times what happens with us is like Serenity will be like, okay, well, this is what we're doing. Let me know if this is too much, if this is not okay. And like, it's a trust thing. And that's why I think session 0s or at least a one-on-one talk is important. But yeah, no, throw you in the deep end and actually play the game. Like, I agree with Jay about like just get started on the actual game, but like that background information is a little important, you know, for the unprepared. Yeah. Other than that, fuck it, let's roll some dice.
They do make these like handy little consent forms for RPGs now. They're like those little kink forms that you can do, but it's for RPGs.
Oh shit, do they?
Yes, they do.
I think it's a really cool idea for like new people who have never been in the game. That's dope.
Then you'd be like, yo, this is what's gonna happen. Yeah. If you want to play, you're gonna have to, you know.
You're gonna have to accept.
You gotta be cool with some stuff.
Bad things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be chopping them arms, man.
You're all gonna lose a limb.
Is maiming okay? Maiming needs to be okay.
I think in the short of it, I think we all can agree the most dangerous place is inside Jay's mind.
This is an accurate statement, and that's a good way to end it.
Yeah, you have to sign a waiver before you go in there.
Yeah, before you go inside Jay's mind, you probably need a couple waivers.
Love it. Anyway, I think session 0s are useful mostly for the DM because it's a great place to do lore dump, to make sure people know all the stuff that their characters would know, because obviously you create this huge big world and the player doesn't know shit, but the characters would know some shit. Also, one thing I personally appreciate about session 0s is I don't think they're 100% necessary. I do agree with Jay. I think also you can just have a little conversation beforehand about triggers and stuff. But one thing that I appreciate about session 0s is the first sentence I say as my character is so nerve-wracking. Any new character, before I say their first sentence, is the most acute anxiety, especially if I'm doing a voice, but not necessarily just if I'm doing a voice.
Oh, yeah.
So scary. So if I can do that in a session where it doesn't fucking count, it's great.
That's fair.
And those
especially if I'm doing a voice.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're doing a voice. Love it. And that's our show for tonight. Those were my closing thoughts. Thank you all for tuning in once again. Make sure to tune in next week. I'm gonna try and get Jake on there, so we'll get some more perspective on some stuff. Tune in on Friday for Perry's date with Fulton, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll go to the library. Maybe there'll be some other stuff. We won't know. I'm sure it'll be exciting.
Perry don't know.
Yeah, check out our store, check out our Twitch backlog, check out our YouTube, check out our Discord. We're still posting memes. The memes are still out there for anyone who wants to see them. They're funny. You may have seen them on Twitter, but you know. But they're funny because we comment on them. We're friendly and hilarious, I promise. Come be friends with us. Thank you to Sunbird and Lady Meows for doing our logo and our music. And I hope you all have an amazing night. Happy Weed Day. Happy Guilty on All Charges Day. If you've seen the news. Bye.